Around the world, the fight for LGBTQ+ rights is both a legal and cultural journey, reflecting broader societal values and histories. While some nations have embraced marriage equality and anti-discrimination protections, others maintain restrictive laws or deeply entrenched social stigmas. Understanding these differences requires examining not only legislation, but also the cultural, religious, and historical contexts that shape public opinion. From urban centers advocating inclusivity to rural areas grappling with tradition, the landscape of LGBTQ+ rights reveals the complex interplay between law, identity, and social acceptance. Culture plays a decisive role in shaping attitudes toward LGBTQ+ communities. Societies with a strong emphasis on collectivism, tradition, or religious values may prioritize social cohesion over individual freedoms, often limiting acceptance of non-heteronormative relationships. Conversely, cultures with a history of progressive activism or secular governance tend to adopt more inclusive policies. This cultural lens explains why identical legal reforms can be celebrated in one country, yet spark backlash in another. For activists and policymakers, bridging the gap between legal recognition and cultural acceptance is one of the most enduring challenges. Legal protections, while essential, do not automatically translate to societal equality. Anti-discrimination laws, marriage rights, and gender recognition policies provide a foundation, but prejudice and social stigma can persist. In many cases, LGBTQ+ individuals navigate workplaces, schools, and healthcare systems with caution, despite formal protections. Cultural norms often dictate everyday interactions more than laws do. Understanding this dynamic is crucial. Legal recognition is a milestone, but true equality depends on shifting perceptions, challenging stereotypes, and fostering acceptance across generations. Historical context is another critical factor. Across time, LGBTQ+ identities have been celebrated, criminalized, or ignored, depending on social structures and dominant ideologies. From ancient civilizations, where gender diversity was recognized, to colonial-era laws that criminalized same-sex behavior, history shapes contemporary debates. In many countries, remnants of these historical attitudes influence current policies and cultural resistance. Recognizing the historical roots of discrimination allows advocates and policymakers to address systemic barriers while framing modern reforms in a culturally sensitive and impactful manner. Education is a powerful tool in bridging cultural divides. Inclusive curricula that teach about LGBTQ+ history, rights, and experiences help reduce prejudice and foster empathy. In countries where education emphasizes diversity and human rights, social acceptance of LGBTQ+ individuals tends to be higher. Conversely, in places where these topics are taboo or misrepresented, misinformation perpetuates stigma. Empowering younger generations with knowledge and critical thinking skills cultivates a more informed, compassionate society, reinforcing the idea that cultural change is as important as legal reform. Media representation also plays a vital role in shaping cultural perceptions. Positive portrayals of LGBTQ+ individuals in films, television, literature, and online platforms challenge stereotypes and normalize diverse identities. Conversely, negative or absent representation can reinforce prejudice. Global media trends show that visibility, authenticity, and relatability are key factors in promoting understanding. By highlighting real stories, struggles, and successes, media contributes to cultural acceptance and encourages dialogue across communities, illustrating that storytelling is not just entertainment, but a catalyst for social progress. Religious beliefs often intersect with LGBTQ+ rights debates. Faith traditions provide moral frameworks for millions, and interpretations of sacred texts influence societal attitudes. Some religious communities embrace inclusivity, celebrating diverse identities, while others uphold conservative interpretations that oppose non-heteronormative relationships. Navigating these tensions requires dialogue, mutual respect, and education. Successful cultural shifts often occur when religious leaders and community figures engage in conversations about compassion, equality, and the human dignity of LGBTQ+ individuals, showing that cultural transformation is not zero-sum but inclusive. Activism and grassroots movements are central to bridging gaps between law and culture. From pride marches to community advocacy, local activists create visibility, challenge stigma, and push for policy change. These movements not only influence legislation, but also shift public opinion over time. The global LGBTQ+ movement demonstrates that cultural acceptance is rarely immediate. It is cultivated through persistence, storytelling, and solidarity. By empowering marginalized voices and fostering cross-cultural networks, activism ensures that progress in rights is matched by progress in societal attitudes, making change sustainable and resilient. Intersectionality adds another layer to understanding LGBTQ+ experiences within cultural contexts. Factors like race, gender, class, and geography shape how individuals experience acceptance, discrimination, and access to resources. In some cultures, certain identities may face compounded marginalization, while others benefit from social privilege. Recognizing these complexities allows for more nuanced advocacy and policy design. Universal solutions rarely work. Instead, culturally aware approaches that respect local contexts while advancing equality are essential for meaningful and lasting progress. Globalization and cross-cultural exchange also influence LGBTQ+ rights. International human rights frameworks, global media, and social media platforms provide tools for sharing ideas and mobilizing support. Countries observing successful legal reforms abroad may adapt similar policies, and individuals can connect with global communities for support and guidance. Yet, cultural differences remain, requiring sensitivity in applying external models. The interplay between global norms and local traditions highlights that advancing rights is not just a legal issue. It is a negotiation between universal principles and cultural realities. Public opinion and generational shifts are key indicators of potential change. Younger generations tend to be more accepting of LGBTQ+ identities, reflecting exposure to diverse narratives and education. These shifts can influence elections, legislation, and corporate policies, gradually reshaping cultural norms. Understanding demographic trends helps predict the pace of social acceptance, offering both hope and guidance for activists and policymakers. Cultural evolution is incremental, but by observing and amplifying these trends, societies can align legal rights with broader social acceptance over time. Economic and institutional factors also play a role. Inclusive policies in workplaces, healthcare, and education signal societal values and reinforce cultural change. Corporations and institutions that embrace diversity often influence broader cultural norms by modeling equality and accountability. Similarly, governments that enact protective laws create environments where inclusion becomes normalized. These structural supports complement grassroots efforts, ensuring that cultural acceptance is not just aspirational, but embedded in the institutions people rely on every day. In conclusion, LGBTQ+ rights cannot be divorced from cultural context. Legal recognition is a milestone, but lasting equality depends on education, media, activism, religion, intersectionality, and institutional support. Societal values, historical legacies, and public perception all shape how rights are understood and implemented. By addressing both cultural and legal dimensions, advocates, policymakers, and communities can create meaningful change. The global journey for LGBTQ+ equality demonstrates that progress is multifaceted, requiring patience, strategy, and empathy, a lesson that remains relevant for generations to come.